also very so that you can hear. Or she's going to end up singing. It's like, wow, your whole body feels it. Did you get this? Yeah, helper or anything like that? It was fun to see it when I was there. It's done. It's good. I can't remember the number, but they're today their cover days. They hold on their daughter that's always sick on my brother and my girl. Yeah. And there was no English spoken that week. Oh no, so much better when they invited there was other that's for the next year. And they invited them by the neighbor kind of their language, like their language, sure. These are other ways to understand or no, that's why I spoke. Yeah. So some people just ran to the drugstore and Verica's going to pick up Andrea Curley. And we're gonna switch into this afternoon. Part of it is Erica leading us through a visioning with various questions. But what I'm wondering is whether we could first look at some of the MOU and the policy and that sort of stuff and just sort of say, yes, we could bring in the MOU and the script. Every single person has a copy. Okay. It's all in your folder on the left-hand side. There's more folders out there. They gave you help. You were reading it earlier, like, oh. So I'm thinking, the first off to start with is the land held in perpetuity, a living commitment. It's in the folders. Do you know? Did you lose your folder? Yeah, other part. We both. Okay. Oh, did you? Okay. Or Dina's going to get you another one. Let's get used to it. Or Tom, can you, oh, it's not, is it on my computer? Yes, it is. Can you bring it up and project it or let technical stuff to switch? Huh? Okay. Not if I, so here it is for Gina. Plug it in. I can. Now we can all be in our adults. Spray. So, mana ba dia de boca? That's what it means. Come here. Allah is perpetuity. Forever. Forever. Forever, I hope so. Yes. I says it doesn't mean they're going to take it back, right? No, exactly. Sure. So they yeah, true now. Forever. Yeah, but perpetuity. Yeah, perpetuity. Does that mean like it means the ungiver? Maybe I can't. Yeah, so there's two parts. One is the MOU with the church, and this is an internal document for us. So part of being land trust, or part of what when we first met back in 2022, and Mig was saying we want to send a clear intention to the future. So we know things will change in the future, and we want to send our intentions of what this land is for and what should happen here. So that's what this is. So it's to affirm and protect the long-term stewardship of the lands held by women of First Light for the benefit of current and future generations of Indigenous people. This policy formalizes our commitment to holding land in perpetuity for sacred cultural healing, community purposes, rooted in matriarchal values and Indigenous law. So what does perpetuity mean? It means forever. Just means forever. Okay. Yeah. Right. I always thought it was one word. It wasn't. Yeah, because I thought it had something to do with value and things like that. That's what I thought. No, it means, okay. It's like setting it up, like there's two ways we could go. We could stay ourselves, or we could set up a brand new land trust, work on getting organized, get a charitable number again, go through that whole process. It just seemed silly when we've been through it already. Right. So instead we use Women of First Light, and the way that we work, the way that we've been creating it, and that we have a charitable number. And this just means that this is our commitment
that the land can't be sold for development.
Okay.
It can't be, whatever, like it can't be used for anything other than Indigenous healing. And that, and should we ever dissolve, like if women for life say something happens and we dissolve, that then this land would go, we would first look for an Indigenous woman's charity to give the land to. If we couldn't find that, then it would go to an Indigenous charity who would carry these values forward. So no casino, no.
Oh, right up my alley.
And the renewal ceremony isn't about, and maybe we can change the wording a bit, but it's about, like sometimes you pass policies and the future happens and people forget it. Mm-hmm. So that every year there be that recommitment to the land, whether that's people putting tobacco into the sacred fire to give that commitment to this land and to the stewardship of the land again, but some way that it carries forward into the future what this is meant for. Mm-hmm. And that can be done. Pardon me? That can be done. That can be done. Yeah.
And in reality, you have to record it or everybody done it?
No.
And in reality, it's really breaking, it's freeing our mother from the enslavement. Because that's what the capitalism does, And I was thinking about having it also like maybe in our language because we connect us like Mahanigil. So when we say Mahan and Bahan, we are on her back. Living on her back and being carried on her back. O John, when you say at bottom, Bemalu Kitunjan and Bakina or that means Bemajuan. They doing and we don't have to literally say at bottom. That we are carrying life. So when we say Maham is like her origin of bottom. So a being, we're literally talking about a being that we have been on her back and living off her back ever, so it's to our language further brings out that she is a living, so, so not even on her, do so nothing of, never done it by Luis hugging and all these things now I've been kind of very emotional coming up for this because it's huge. It's so good to be good. Sorry.
Oh, I love it. So translating it into the language, we have to work on getting that done.
Yeah.
And are people comfortable with this? Yeah? Okay. Good stuff.
Change that back to potato.
Well, it was passed, we'll add that. So what it was on May 5th, the board approved it. So we'll add down below that the membership approved it on this date.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at you, Tosh.
Yeah, I'm writing my log.
So
Yeah, now I'm writing my notes.
So just going to read the bottom of this. May our hearts be open, our words be true, and our actions reflect the love this land has shown us for generations beyond memory. So the memorandum of understanding, it's probably what it's a 16, 18-page document. It's not. So church people talk a lot.
Oh,
So I asked Tosh to just take it out, the meaning of it, and give us a succinct version that has everything in it, but with fewer words.
I got it down to 2 pages. Just saying.
Which is what most MOUs tend to be.
Yeah, just say it, right?
Just saying.
So that's it right there. So this memorandum of understanding is between Women of First Light, the United Church of Canada, which technically in the white world owns this land, which is 2 regional councils, and the Tatamagouche Center and the land. So we've been working on this, well, since 2022 when we met.
Yeah.
We've been working behind the scenes to move this forward. It finally started moving in January, and I'm going to give the thanks to Catherine Anderson because she invited me to the Justice and Outreach Committee. And when I came to that meeting and they said, so what's happened since the 7th generation gathering when everyone committed? And I said, nothing. I said, Erica's been sending emails. We're getting 0 response, nothing. We're trying every way we can. We're getting nowhere.
We so much work for the.
We were doing a whole lot of work for them.
Yeah.
And going to speak to them. Tasha and I went to 3 different ones of their meetings. A lot of stuff that we were doing. Catherine Anderson, the people around that table got angry. And they wrote to the person who's in charge of the church and said, what is this? Is not the way we treat our Indigenous partners. And then one of them brought up their bylaws and said, it doesn't need to go to the national church because it went to the national church. They created a rematriation committee, which turned into a repatriation committee that became all complicated and a bunch of junk. And they looked it up and said, no, this is an incorporated ministry. So the 2 regions determine what will happen. And so that's where the door started to open. And so we had already met with the 2 regions. So we started to pull together and we hired Nancy Lee, who used to be ED here, to help do the church part because we didn't want to do it. So we really didn't want to have to do that. So we had someone else and we've been holding monthly meetings. Jen and Unlaweg joined in and have been really great at backing us. So when the church would say, well, we want this to happen, Chris Gugu would come out with an example how Windhorst wanted the same thing. And no, you don't get to tell Indigenous people how to do environmental stewardship.
I'm getting paid to fight a church. I don't want to say dream job.
That's pretty good though.
Yeah. So this agreement has the transition committee has all agreed to it. We've reworked it for months. And it's here, we can approve it here. And then there's regional councils, each hold meetings there, except the property committees. So the way it works, just to make sure I got it down. The Tatamagouche Center writes a letter to the regional councils asking them to accept and pass this. The property committees have already passed it in theory. They send it to the regional councils. The regional councils meet in June. They agree to it. The Tatamagouche Center has an AGM in June. They agree to it. So if all goes well, by the end of June, we will have a signed memorandum of understanding. So this isn't, the land is now transferred because in practical sense, we're powerful and we're also,
we're not rich.
we're not
Broke, but you know.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to be nicer than saying like, look, I got dust in my pockets over here, but
yeah.
And we need a plan.
But we need a plan, which is part of what we're going to do with Erica to start kicking off that plan because like Lottie was saying, we need to think about how are we going to maintain the land? How are we going to maintain the buildings? How are we going to do these things? So there's a visioning of all the programs we want to do and all the good stuff that we and there's also the practical part of it. And so this memorandum we've set up that is a commitment from them, which they, as far as I'm concerned, will not back out of. That the land will move forward towards this transition, this rematriation. And it also allows flexibility in the time of how long it takes us to get to the place where we're ready to say, okay, you know, and we can do different things. Isaac's worked out like a nice little visual chart of how things might look moving forward. So that's kind of where it sits. Well, we started working on it in 2020. 2022 is when we had that gathering here and everyone signed that letter to the board at Tadenbush Center, asking them to look at moving forward. So that's when we started. And then there was, so it's taken 3 years. 2022 is when we first decided to move forward. It feels longer because we've had visions of it way back.
Yeah, it was just,
right?
we said Kathy would probably come up with.
She would come back with 12 years ago, 30 years ago, 1980s, we came to this land and we looked at each other and said, this is ours and it's coming back to us. So there have been people who come to the land and look at each other and go, this is ours and it's going to come back to us. And there's been people carrying that story for many years and partly doing that work through the Peace and Friendship Project of the center, right? Like continuing the whole ceremonies here and bring the settlers and the Indigenous folks together to do that. So there's been various ebbs and flows of it. And it kind of kick-started again before our meeting. Just to give a bit of history, there was what they call a program resource group meeting. And after, well, I'll just name it, after the racist was working here and it caused all kinds of shit for the byproduct communities, the program resource group who used to work here all gathered and they were talking about why does things keep on going wrong here? And Tosh happened to be at that meeting and she kept on saying, the land needs to be healed and things will not be right until they come back under friendship. This is indigenous sacred lands where people have been gathering for thousands of years, and there'll continue to be problems. And so the program resource group wrote a letter to the board asking them to consider handing it back to Indigenous people. And then we met and said, well, do we want to do that? And Lottie was there, Georgina was there. Yeah. And so at that point we said, yes, we do want to do this. We will move forward. And the important thing when we've always come back to when we get discouraged, like, oh my gosh, how will we do these renovations that are needed or whatever, is the grandmothers just keep saying, it's the land. It's the land that is sacred. It's the land that's going to bring the healing. So we focus on that and the rest. So I've now gotten, so I don't tell the grandmothers all the details of all the work that we're doing. And I go to Tosh, Erica, younger ones to say, this is what's going on and go to Wapna'kikewi'skwaq to get advice that's helpful. Cause it's the grandmothers want to do the healing work and want to do the loving work. You know, like Jamie said, we need help to create a space where the grandmothers can do what they do best, which is to create unconditional love and acceptance for everyone. So that's kind of the work forward.
We need to record ish, talking about this so that would be also sent out to the grandmothers because that's what I was thinking about, that the videos, really important.
On record, Onlaweg also has a professional videographer on staff. So as part of our support, we can probably like arrange, and create, a fundraising clip for, something that could be put out to the community, both for education, but also to garner sort of interest and support and get people behind it. So
We got ours over here.
Oh, good.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Oh, I don't mind. I think.
I'm just saying, collaboration.
Yeah.
Collaboration, yeah. So what we wanted to do, I got it right here. Okay, great. So what we thought we might do is when we sent that letter to the board back in 2022, we all signed it and put our community on it. So I asked Tosh to do up a sheet which we can send it around here and also signatures for people to sign. So it's not just women of First Light without names or communities. And which is why it didn't work out, but it's all okay. We were trying to have as many community representatives, like Wapna'kikewi'skwaq, Pictou Landing, you know, but things happen, people's lives. Yeah, exactly.
We did have it on the original invite one.
Yeah.
Especially for the women at first light, you have to kill those who are walking in. It's not still there?
Yes, she just had to run to the
Oh,
drugstore, she'll
okay.
be back.
Yeah, so this is nice. The representation, from, especially in the homeland here, the immediate homeland of our relatives.
Mhm.
So those are, like, I'm journeying out from that end. I come up from here, I'm very conscientious about, because we have those natural boundaries of responsibility to Mahamigero. And so those protocols, are there, but we don't really announce them, but I think the announcement is necessary, especially now with younger people and more people part of our, circle. So that's my thinking. And that, you know, how we've kind of been feeling out in the out of what's happening in our homelands because we're not engaged or invited. So Women at First Light is about old protocols, old ways of being. This was such a healing area for our original gathering that we're talking about, and we're holding hands about how we want to, what we want to birth, and what, and co-creating what our ancestors can recognize. Stand looking for the net, and very involved in that, and very for the movement, Mahamino. So those, like, our original responsibility to, our mother and how we are walking on her, you know, much more than that, but, just want to keep bringing those systems, ancestral systems, into the center.
Those women will they be doing looking at the land to see if there was any burial sites here before you start?
So we know of a couple. There's the burial site that is behind Creighton, at the kind of the starting part of the building, right behind it. There is, I remember correctly, 22.
You know the numbers, I don't.
There was 22 that were buried there. There's some that are buried in the ditch area by the trail right behind my house. And then there is I even get the chills just talking about it, but the field across the road, the line of trees right at the edge of the field, there's another field behind there. And there's a lot of, like, it hits you, like, I don't even know if I can explain it. It's like
a wall.
It's a wall.
Trees behind Stevens.
Not the trees behind Stevens, so it's field that's right next to Stevens.
Yeah.
When you go back to the line of trees, there's another field behind there.
Yeah.
So we found out through.
Walk that path.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's actually an Acadian massacre site there.
Yeah.
Where the British came for all the Acadians, so there's a bunch of Acadians there. They couldn't figure out how to finish. But they said it was it was 18 something. That might happen.
It was when the explosion happened.
Yeah.
They burnt down the original house.
Yeah. So that's the information that we got from the dowsers. Yeah.
Someone was talking earlier about LiDAR, like chest museums as well, I guess. Like, residential, to do the parties of it.
There is a Roger Lewis, a Mi'kmaq man, does the LiDAR,
Mhm.
and Kathy Martin has his contact information.
So it definitely explains why there's a lot of traffic in Green. It's 5. I said 5. 4.
But it's all next to building.
There's no I'm trying to calm you down, girl. I know that's why I stopped talking and slowly drifted off because I was like, she's back in the room. Uh-oh.
It's on both ghosts.
Oh, did you get this? You did. Okay.
So I think the only other thing that we wanted, this is Anne,
And
I don't know, do we want to do a quick circle to bring you in? We'll just tell our names and, okay, so you can start.
Linda Wisty and Bill from Eel River Bar. And right now I'm living in Halifax. Is the elder in residence at the university there? I met Catherine in the parking lot and she goes, "Hey, I'm not feeling too good. You want to go?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, go." Where am I going?
Just go where you're told.
Yes, yeah.
So I'll pass that on.
My name is Shelly Gilgrey. I work at Allway. So I've been asked by the Women of First Light board, Allway to come in and sort of offer some support. We purchased a 200-acre property, former Windhorse Farm, now known as Osadulis, up in the Bridgewater area a few years ago. So we have some lessons learned, and for the last down, don't do this.
I'm Karen, and I've been with Women on First Light for a few years, but I've done a lot of, I think I did some other stuff before I actually started working with Women on First Light. So I was always coming to meetings and things like that in this building. So I've been doing that for a while. I'm from Wapna'kikewi'skwaq, and I do a lot of stuff. It's much.
Lawton Johnson. I remember Anne in a while. We worked together through it. So it's nice to see you. And me right now, I'm retired. And I'm all over this. We're masked. I do anything on residential school, naming ceremonies, bring the moon, letting go ceremonies, things like that. Working. Because here and there, it isn't steady work. I think I need one, but I'm 80, so I'm old. Thank you.
It's so good luck to,
Yes.
well, now we have an excuse. We can say whatever we want.
Or you can when you're old.
My name's Nick. I work here at the center. Yeah. And I have to take off in about 5 minutes. So thanks for sharing the space with me. Sorry I have to go early. I have a little one like this that I love.
The younger.
Yes.
The youngest.
Exactly. But she runs the show.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Gov Treasure. I think I last saw you in Maine when we were there, or when we went to that concert there. That's not big, yeah. But yeah, I'm just here with Women of First Light, and yeah, just probably gonna be doing more on the media side of things. But yeah.
Hi, I'm Tasha Butler. Just chilling. Member of Women of First Light, and I'm a member of Daughters of First Light, and I'm part of the Rematration circle. And yeah, I live in the field, so I'm always around this place. Even if I'm not here, I'm around somewhere. So, as I always tell people, if you need something, I'm literally in the field. So, I have support process. So, yeah, it's me.
Erica.
My land. My name's Erica. You can Marsha. And I'll be talking weird.
And I'm here, I think. I love it.
He's a friendship coordinator for the He's a friendship group. That's 10%. From the Sushi Escavia. Yeah, that's it.
I'm Chris Crawford with Fathom Studios. This is my second time here. I was just thinking, I don't know how we ended up here the first time. It was Meg. That makes sense. Yeah, we worked with Meg on the Under One Sky Friendship Center, and she was kind enough to introduce us to Women at First Light and this beautiful property.
Regina Paul. I'm from Wapna'kikewi'skwaq. I'm also part of Daughters of First Light and have been coming around with the First Light help them where I can, but I work at Fathom Studio with Chris and I live in Halifax and I go to Down. So it's a yeah.
And Mahan from a civil village, and also women of First Light. And I think I don't remember the labor pains, but I think we also the women of First Light birth the daughters.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's been it's good to be here. It's good to see you, and Anne and I are very old. I don't want to say old, but we're longtime friends. So in the 70s. The 70s. That's good. We've been radicals for all these. Yeah. Our traditional homelands of Espigalagi, with Erica. So good to see you, Anne. Good to see everyone, and good to meet you. I've heard of you, and I was looking forward to meeting you too. It's good to see people, big parts and places, and Tattamabush is big for us. It's home. It's Kimco, who's my son. He was about 4 years old when he was here on his own without me, with his father, for one of the sessions, Peace and Friendship Gathering sessions.
Actually, that was when Isatonama first came to ask the center to work alongside of Indigenous people. So it was the very first time of coming and saying, hey.
Yep.
And Gup was running.
Yeah.
Oh, look, he still is.
Yeah.
Sounds like such a, I don't remember my first time here, but
Yeah.
that's good. It's good energy here.
Yeah. And now your little girl too, who's been running around here.
Yeah, when you said that, I was sort of like, oh, there was a good moment that.
So the place becomes safe when we start to bring our children. And so it was back then, despite the relationships that's happening and that we held very deep, and we came here and then built relations with people that are probably not here anymore, but Ishbel, we're still here.
So I'm not going anywhere.
That's my quick intro, but I just wanted to make it a wider church,
My name is Georgina Lucia, and I'm from Spizzoni. Besides coming here, there's a gathering. among 3 other organizations that were on most of the missing murder. I have a canyon there when we started. That's for 100 years ago, aunts and uncles were murdered and their bodies were overturned. We hear rumors, and one of the rumors I heard a few years after, they were burned under the in Trans-Canada. So, but it's good to be here, good to see each and every one of yours. You give me strength to keep going. Love you.
I'm Ishbel. We've met at Dell at something I've heard. We've met through Kathy Martin, but I can't really remember what it was we were doing. And I just live across the field. Yeah. And yeah, I've been working with Women at First Light since 2016 and doing other work with folks from body.
Mario, I'm so honored to be here. I had heard of Women of First Light, for a while, but I graduated last year and 5 years just flew by, and I don't think I went outside of Dalhousie campus very often. I would just hear things going on, and but I made it through, and I say it was a miracle that I got through 5 years. But and now I'm there. I always say I don't feel that I do too much, but I'm involved in just about everything that's there. And encouraging our students, encouraging the kids to stay, even though it's friggin' hard. It's a hard place to tackle. I'm just so grateful that I can be there and, take them aside and say, look, we can do this together. You're not alone. You don't have to be alone to battle through. If you want to cry, if you want to talk, anything, somebody's there. So,
So I think the only other thing to pass, sort of technically, was the name change that we wanted to do when we take it over. And I call it a tagline, which also will need to be changed in tagline. Right. Do you have it, Tosh?
Well, you guys have it.
Oh, okay. So we're basically taking it back to, so that on this listening session, which will lead into it, it's changing the name to the Mi'kmaq spelling of Catamagush and the Mi'kmaq translation of Catamagush and calling it lodge instead of center. I'm not going to try and say it. Go ahead. Where's Verigat? These guys have been practicing it for 30 years.
That's a that probably chick.
Is it Nima or is it?
Oh, it's that word over there?
Which one?
Hold on, let me go read it.
Gosh, back on the That's how Verigat gave it the translation, so go with it.
So that's supposed to be a lodge?
Yes.
It wasn't good.
So it's changing.
Thank you for coming.
Changing it to the original Mi'kmaq spelling, which when it was anglicized became Catamagush, and changing it back to the original way of speaking it. We've heard different people speaking it different ways. And that's probably normal because that some, you know, you get up into New Brunswick, something's pronounced different than Cape Breton. So, you know, having some flexibility, but if we want to change it to that, and then having the tag being healing the land, the people, and the spirit.
It like sounds like Dahani George.
I know we've been having such a hard time with that ending part.
I think it's issue, right? No,
Like we're definitely open
yeah,
to corrections.
What does Bush mean? Like,
So different people have said different things. When
What's Bernie saying?
yeah, so when the people say the meetings of the two waters, when the Grand Chief was here for returning the spirit, he said it was the mingling of the waters, which is like had a deeper meaning that it's like the coming together and the mingling of the different waters, the different energies was the way that the Grand Chief, when we were doing returning the spirits.
that makes sense because up there, doctors in the place called Bush. It's almost the same, kind of the AIDS and E.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So-
that's what they call her too.
The word,
Expression of how the rivers are. So this, the Bush actually explains the river, it doesn't mean nothing about it.
Okay.
That's it.
so there's it's in the Mi'kmaq lexicon, oxygon, and lodge, not oxygon, no.
Oh, for lodge?
Yeah, that's what it's in the Mi'kmaq lexicon, for lodge, oxygon.
There's an older word too that we got from Diane and this English. It's a really
Diane
powerful
Joseph?
word, yeah.
Yeah. There's a few names, I guess, for the one. But I guess my brother would have liked. Yes, he would have, yeah. Yeah, and then we always hear like, oh, poem, like, you know, it's like the. Yeah. And you could come.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Large.
yeah. Like wigwam. Then there's lodges for the night. Get Kunit. It would be a lodge that's going to the lodge at night. So
That wouldn't be this, though.
no, that was just all these other, yeah. I'm just seeing what I'm seeing. But they don't have it. That's maybe just the one who will hold me or something.
So we're getting a couple of different conversations and I want to hear them all because I'm Malay. So. So what was the Eric state conversation that just happened?
Well, Erica was connecting it and it's the language distribution now we have what did you call it? We have WCK, we have having a bush there too. Oh, Edible bush. You know, we would pronounce it like that. Yeah, edible bush, talking about that. It's almost like saying dead bush. This is not. Oh, that's what they were saying. That's in a teasing way. Yeah.
And I said this name to somebody, I said, oh, I'm going to Dadama Bush, or you're going to the land where, you're going to the place where
It's not your father.
it's not your father. Because when he says Dada, which is dad, Mu means no, Bush means father, so. The land, that's not your going for, it's not your father? Yeah. Person. And the father, your dad's not your father.
Yeah.
But then somebody said, well, this is the bush.
Yeah.
He said, well, your father's dead up there.
Yeah.
That's mystic.
And
So it's just making, just saying,
yeah,
yeah,
it's true.
yeah. So anyways, it's three languages.
And it's a lot of our languages and name places were describing the contour of the land and what the land is, what the land is English, you know, so this is in reference to children observing their mother and mimicking their mother or what is she doing, and so the land represents the same thing. And
We need to have, I think, a little bit of a, reshift in that last piece. That's, I've never seen anything like that sounds put together. Never heard of it.
Yeah.
So just a little tweak like that, I think,
Sounds good.
yeah.
So maybe we go to Janie Meter's mom.
Yes.
Yeah, Pauline. To get. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Janie is gonna have a retreat or a little gathering or what?
Yes, but I think you can't come that weekend.
No. Yeah, but that's where,
That's where we could go next door and
Yeah.
talk to Pauline.
collaborate with the powerhouse in this room too.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and how do people feel about healing the land, the people, the spirit?
That feel like a good, like, one-liner for under the name.
Maybe ourselves too, put ourselves in there.
Well,
That's the people.
That's the people. Healing the land, healing the land, the people, and
Our
spirit.
Spirit sheet.
Instead of the people, because it seems distant,
Yeah, the land spirit.
could be our people.
Yeah, I like that.
Our
Oh,
people.
yeah. And it's a spiritual connection. The healing is already has happened, but it's not recognized. We feel like we're a defect from the capitalist system. But now it's not us that we just, I think with, anyway, it's all good now for me.
Why do you want to feel so following you on the people?
Yes, that's because that out that's the way we are being looked at.
Or
I did not.
Yeah, but there's no.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's more like it's a vision.
So maybe what we can do, because Erica is gonna lead us through some visioning, and maybe out of that, some other words will come that fit and resonate, and we can keep these ones in mind and then look at what comes out of that too. Does that seem good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay.
Really feeling everything you sweet like.
Yeah. So maybe you guys could project into the circle so we can hear what's going on.
We were talking about the peace. Heal the land, the people, and the spirit. I already felt like there's something missing, but I wasn't sure, so I asked her.
Okay.
So Lottie says, heal the land, the people, and spirit, and ancestors. And the ancestors.
And the ancestors.
Because spirit
It's
is
the same, and the ancestors and it's the same.
the spirit, the same too, no.
Well, because we have a spirit and then there's ancestors who
Yeah.
passed on, that they have a spirit too, but
Yeah.
they're the ancestors. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, maybe that, and that piece maybe.
Mhm.
Huh?
Get Jamie doing me.
And then Jen said maybe we should put the ancestor spirit first before the land,
To the people.
the people.
And the people's like, if you're sort of talking like the hierarchy, you'd be like land, spirit, people, but maybe I'll
But
overthink.
then I told her if you get Pauline to do it in Mi'kmaq, and then it will translate it into English, so it might change.
Yeah.
Oh, but we're not healing the ancestors. This is about healing the land, the people, and the spirit, right?
The ancestors would be the ones that are buried here as well.
Yeah.
And like with healing, you want to do it on there.
People that heal the ancestors, that's like unfortunate and they lost this land.
So sometimes the ancestors do need to.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine, I was wondering,
And we
see it. That's I'm like, why point you guys back now?
Erica's suggestion that we put it into Mi'kmaq, and then the translation into English will change based on the way that it is in Mi'kmaq.
It's hard sometimes to translate. That's why English too big one.
and you're gonna show us a video or?
The video?
What is it?
Oh, no, you missed it all. That was this morning. Yes. Oh, wait, Erica's gonna lead us on a bit of a discussion thing, a bit of visioning, So it's around, like Lonnie was talking about, we need to kind of look at building a plan, right? And so this is the start of it, and we'll have to have lots more discussions too. But it's around starting of the building of the sort of visions. You know, we had different talks about what kind of programs should happen here. It's sort of to draw some of that out.
Yeah, okay, so the first question here, people could just stand up, take some notepads.
Do we need
Kind of
more
like some-
pens?
Yep,
There's a whole brigade in the office.
bunch of markers.
Get some water.
And yeah, so if you look at each corner, there's some questions there, just take pad and write down whatever you want to see.
I used to write for this.
You guys want me to read this too?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so the first one says, what does this look like?
Yeah.
So what does this space look like when it is welcoming all generations? So you think of something, write it down and stick it over there. Yeah? Or there's a little bit of images. I didn't have much magazines, but if you want to cut something out and glue it on there too, you can. And the second one is, when you think of rematration, not just as a word, but as a feeling, what do you think of? Third one, what kinds of gatherings, ceremonies, teachings do you envision taking place here? Fourth one, very but what teachings or ancestral values feel important to carry forward as we shape the future of the time of the center? 5, how would you steward or take care of the land? Get creative and start moving around. Yeah, I'm not really good at this thing right now.
We can just go. Can we go with one more if we choose?
Yes, sir. That's one word.
However you want to break it, I think.
Yeah.
Even if you had a drops.
So whatever made it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's in there. Yeah, well, I want to move around.
Just blow off. Oh, no, unless everyone's staying up there. I know.
Just take a picture and just
Not much. Not much. Oh my God. There's a really a big and it's gonna hurt. High up.
Oh, I know, but it's old. It's
Like it's
2022.
oh, it's gonna hurt.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's
Make that work.
Here's oh yes. I gotta take that in order. I gotta take his that he's in frame this. Oh, so this one in your bag. This one, you take this. It's one of the frames. Can you see that, Jennifer?
Who's this?
It says like, what does this basically look like when it's welcoming to all generations? Oh, here's a strategic plan. So your thought like this space would look like. All right, goal number 1. Very good. Just copy and paste. Copy and paste. I'm gonna put some things in. Little bit for these. What does the space welcome to all generations? I thought that one in your pouch. I'm a 50.
I comb my hair first time in the day.
Question.
I left my purse and everything home and.
Karen, you were going into town.
But here,
Oh,
yeah, we were just there. So what's going on? They had left a message for Tosh, right?
yeah, they left a message that her meds are ready.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. They called while we were gone?
Yeah.
Oh, because we were right there and the woman said, because we were in there.
Yeah.
So I had asked and she said, no, she said, I'm quite sure I told her daughter that we'd call when they were ready. I said, no, you probably did. She said, but we're right here. We're right here. So we got, she goes,
They closed at 5.
she said, that's nothing ready. And now they're ready. You're trying to save somebody a trap. Maybe I didn't look reliable.
You don't really, I would.
Should have been brought to my skirt. 2021, there's a definite one for our, because it's going to have good kids.
I want vision.
One vision?
A
vision written up there?
Yeah.
Which one?
What does it look like?
I
Vision.
didn't want to put.
We need everybody's point of view, how you see
Well, I think
it.
Everyone's, collective vision.
Fine.
And,
I took my word.
that, she's putting it there for you.
Oh,
Well, I
okay.
thought you wanted your, they're here for the whole thing.
Well, if I hadn't seen the camera, I would have caught
I got it in my hand.
Oh,
no,
my kill.
Oh, good. I want that idea.
I mean, with words, yeah, because it keeps you right. Yes, the ideas are healthy. Yeah. So just collected,
I like that vision.
All right.
And then under here.
And,
I know, that's what it does.
yeah, it helps, yeah, trigger our minds a bit early.
Yeah.
How do you spell your name?
Lots of LDK.
I-E.
Lordy,
Just like that?
yeah, one and only.
No, I meant the sticker.
Oh, my.
Jennifer.
Oh, look at that. I'm vision in the gate. Yeah, that's, is there a chair that, no, there.
So the chair down, baby, gotcha.
You're that baby?
No, it's my hips and knees.
Oh, look at this.
They work when they want, and that's when I get in bed and out of bed.
Like if this.
No, I'm no good at squatting. I can't do it.
What kind of gathering ceremonies do you envision happening here, Lucky?
All time.
All times?
All of that.
And then this is the cultural program has two traditional people.
Where's that one going? Probably under what kinds of
Somebody told me one time that the seven sacred teachings aren't ours, they don't belong to us. And I know it belongs to everyone. It's like,
We have our own, no? Listeners develop them and, I have them somewhere, but they're similar to a love respect, but they go more in depth.
yes.
And they're in the language first and then translated. Yeah, I could send you them, I just have to go on my laptop and find me. I'll show you what I mean.
I was gonna bring that up. I didn't want to bring to the actual, on the table. Oh, no, okay. And the Karen helped me.
Did you leave a rush?
No, I was packed and ready and everything was there. And I went up and then I saw it. I didn't realize it was hard, so we got to put out here.
Yeah.
And I was saying, geez, maybe I didn't have enough.
Well, this is kind of interesting.
But I didn't.
Don't mind, I like she.
A little
I like
while.
learning new things. My mother used to say, guys want to learn somebody says, I never stop learning. The day I learned something nice. When I die, she said, I'm gonna keep on learning. I'm gonna spiritual. She was cool. She was one that break the blue step and taught us. And so, like she says, when anything is difficult and you can't find an answer or solve it, pray to blue step and he'll help you. Says he's the one that said he would come back and help the people. So she used to. She was a wind call. She was called wind, called the rain, send it away without. When Rita Joel made powwow. So and Rita told
We brought my backpack.
we won't be able to make the film now, she says, because it's raining. I said, go see my mother. So she went over and asked my mother if she could do anything. There was always this one with her hands on her feather. She always had her feather with. So she prayed to those, and then she was going like this with the feather. And you would see the rain moving over till it got over the water.
Yeah.
And so Rita had done this powwow. It was singing and dancing. Somebody had like a sacred fire. And they were filming this. So when her son came back with the truck, and he had a whole bunch of KFC box, it was supposed to be like,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it start to rain. And it said, oh my gosh, it's raining. You didn't say how long. Said you felt it.
Story.
Yeah, yeah.
Fireflies.
Right.
When you ask, you have to be specific.
Yeah.
And then here's talking about the fireflies and their churches, when you see them, the trees are been watered.
She was 95.
Until
My
like.
aunt was 95 when she died.
Yeah. Start getting.
I had aunts that were and 115.
It's pretty cool, because they'll start reading.
So the women lived kind of long enough.
It's so amazing, and they actually.
No, that's
like wide through them right there.
Well, I think more before they had more of a traditional food diet, they would live longer.
So,
right?
yes, and those change.
Medicine.
Yeah, my mother had to go in gardens. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vegetable gardens, flower gardens.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 gardens.
I wanted to trim up
Yeah,
the
it's a problem.
I'll go to them, I'll go to my business.
We fished, we hunted, big berries. Long, had no money, so we made baskets and sold baskets.
Yeah.
I was never so sick of splints in my life. Because we was out of the net. But when we thought of it later on, we went out of the net, we would say,
Yeah.
table be.
In Pennsylvania, that's how they used to be. Everyone made baskets. The whole family would sit around the table and they would pass the basket around till it was done. Like someone had the bottom, someone had the bottom.
We got.
Yeah, it was like,
And I said, between all of us, nobody can make a basket. It's not a complete net.
work for certain
One little kids would separate the colors, so then the other ones would separate them into lengths. And then when they got the gold ones, they'd each bought them on.
Yep.
Then the next one would put the next 2 rows on. The other one would put the other rows on.
Yep.
They'd pass it up, and I used to bend the molds of
Oh, yes.
and then I'd put on the poof that thing.
Yep.
And then my father would nail it together
Nice.
with a hand. Between us, and I used to do a jiggy ditch those things that went on the
Yeah,
sides.
that's what, was it, say that again?
Jiggy ditch.
Okay, yeah. Huh. No, that's.
Somebody said it was, I don't know, I think they were like named after the snails or something.
Yeah. Lyric taught me that.
What's that?
He said they're like, they have the name of like a certain type of snail, the way that the shell.
Well, the whole basket has like the oceans from like this world, like sky for the day. It's great. The layers, football, and I worked at Ursula Johnson, which is what happens about it.
Yeah, her grandmother was my mother's sister. They were the 2 last basket makers. And they had baskets that was archives, and if you get one of them, it's pretty rare. They go for anywhere from $500 to $1,000.
Yeah, I sold the basket $500. Huh? I make fancy baskets. Yeah, my mom, my grandmother.
The relationship with the night, though, not resolution, but it's almost there.
You still make that?
Yeah. Yeah, I love making that. I just started remaking them because I stopped for a long time. And years ago.
Yeah.
Started making
Yeah,
them.
we're making like. Are you teaching?
I'll go to the workshop.
Are you teaching it to anyone else?
Yeah, I'm teaching my cousin right now.
But your daughter.
She's not very small, 5.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we were another 2 years and not even. I was making baskets in grade 1. Oh, yeah, I could start.
She has an understanding of what you're doing.
Yeah. She watches me bead and sew.
What do you bead?
Oh, I mostly do earrings.
Oh, she makes
Medallions.
Are you doing that?
Yeah. I take long.
My son
Yeah.
and
Oh, wow.
they need baskets.
Nice.
Diamonds are.
It's in there. Oh, nice. I finished cutting this tree.
Yeah.
I want this tree thing. Where pretty.
Oh, we're
Kids. We're supposed to be able to go to magazine too?
Yeah.
Okay.
All I had was water. But I started like 2 days before. We can cut stuff out of the magazine and put that there to put this inventory.
No, that's nice. That was all right. I mean, the house is getting here. Nice. You know, to make sure the shit on the walls. Oh, no, maybe.
But have you seen
No.
strips of that people
It's good.
it's insane.
I didn't see.
Okay.
That's good.
Do you have him? Yes, Mom.
I'll have yellow soup.
Yeah.
The blue out. This is it. Well, yeah, my godmother did it. It was a lot of this.
She must have had it from me.
Oh, yeah, the values from God. Okay, that's a little, I mean, I think
No, I just kind of went through this great.
Yeah. Yeah, they were
We talked about it, how you're going to get everybody back on it.
Well, they have.
And then we went over to watch.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would do.
She's just going
That's on everybody.
So we went over there, we go with it's like, answer any questions that I asked left. And
But it's stuff is
we turned around, we got everybody.
Well, he already went himself.
Sign. So I don't know if either.
Yeah. That's good.
I never, you asked a chance to look through it or anything. Yeah, oh, yeah.
No mail?
Yeah, it's, well, yeah, when I asked, did you go through it?
Remember.
I would say that. I'm like, okay, it's a moron, but it's not the same thing.
On.
You have it stressed.
Yeah, but no, things got time.
Who wrote this up? Who's got your what? Honey?
It's got
They
time.
memorandum of understanding. It's been a process since January with the United Church of Cavendish Center and us. So their document
Oh,
was
yeah.
16 pages long.
Sure.
And 18 pages long, and we didn't want to know. So I asked, good.
Yeah.
Asked. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I got it.
I don't know how that can sound. That's what I mean. You know? Oh, yeah, and this is what, like, from what I could be.
I tried chat GPT.
Oh,
video.
and it's like, we're
fancy
a mess.
Oh,
it's
So you got a party, we're not sitting.
So we also have the one up over there on the piano that was used for Ascatulas.
Osseous.
Or how would I say?
Osseous.
Osseous. Yes.
That which brings balance.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, this is, what is it?
That's from Holloway.
Oh, okay, so, I think that's like, this is your priority and goal.
10 minutes outside of Bridgewater.
I wanna get there for the,
Alright, I'm gonna go to the,
The ghost dance.
It's October 7th to 10th, so it starts on the full moon. So you'll have to get a hotel room unless you're fasting. I could go find your room if you're fasting. I'm charged with it, but not. I don't know the distance.
I'm trying to get there, so I have to read it.
I could write you a letter, like Maryland, we write letters to Maryland and the band under. So I can send you a letter, like band wants to send you, what's your email address?
Oh, yeah.
Lofty.
That's what the litter request for chief and council, they have like 2,000.
LOTTIEJOHN.
They just need to go tell them.
Yeah. At, 519.
Yeah.
519.
Okay.
I will see you.
Yeah, Mama Stops.
Me too.
Yeah, I know what the theme means. Give me some. This was the shut me out. Shut me out. Snoopy man. Email address. There's a new button. There's just going to be.
And so.
We gotta have some later for our, stop, t-shirt or something.
I hate that one, follow people.
Anybody else? Yeah, it's a minimum word, but they were saying the spelling isn't quite right, so we need to go to Janie Meter, Pauline Meter, and that's the right spelling.
Where are you going?
The Grand Prix, that was in her year for the returning the spirit, that it means mingling of the currents. Some people say the meaning to in October.
Oh,
Like the mingling of the waters. Which you
Like,
thought.
it's almost like saying that's what I did. So, what, just guy with that sign, the fancy around this, whenever she moved out, we don't. Yeah. Well, be through that.
Yeah. All right, so where do we go from here?
I will send you all the information.
And then
I'll
do we tie some of this together or no, or do you need time to sort of tie it together?
October 7th, it starts the first.
The commonality.
Okay.
Keep adding.
Yeah.
We're gonna take care of it. Well, I'm back in the office Monday or Tuesday, I'll send you.
Yes, make sure it comes back.
And then I'll get,
So that we don't get that's the only copy.
Okay.
Restore.
Okay, so what's gonna happen is, Erica, and I don't know if someone else will help her with that, maybe Andrea can help her. We just brought Andrea in. Welcome, Andrea.
Good. Oh my God, long time no see.
Yeah. So just to bring some folks up to speed who've come in a bit later, we had a pipe ceremony last night. And Lottie had a very powerful vision about, I won't remember it all and she probably won't remember it all, but it was in each direction, there was a gift that came. And so there was one direction where there was all these youth, and she talked about the sweat lodge and the youth coming out of the sweat lodge. Another direction, there was the women, but it went back generations and generations and generations. And the women, and then from the west, it was the men, and there was thunder and the drumming and the power of the men coming, which fit very much into the gathering that we just had. There was lots of different things that came from Lottie's vision about the sacred fire, having the sacred fire, of the need to always, when we gather, to put up spirit plates every meal because of the ancestors who are here and them wanting to be remembered. And I'm blanking on some of it. Usually it'll come back to me. I know Lottie, I try to always remember her visions because when she's had them, she forgets them.
There was a bear.
So there was a bear.
Oh, yeah, in the west.
The bear that came in the
And
west.
sweat lodge up there at the men.
Yeah, and that the men needed to come and to build a sweat lodge here. And we talked about building a big enough sweat lodge that elders can get into it and not have to crawl on the ground and have to be hauled out. So that was one of our, and one of our dreams for the place, but it was around, it started with doing all of this for the children, like wanting to really pass on the knowledge to the children and ensure that knowledge went into the future. So it started with the children and then the women who have been carrying these knowledges, and about the men needing to come in and to, bring that drum and do those songs and build the sweat lodges and be working with us, right? And, and the bear and all those, so it was a very powerful vision to open up the session to start with. And we talked about how the men's gathering the weekend before had been really historic because in 2016, Lottie had a vision here when we first gathered to talk about whether we wanted to work together. And so I always remember that vision. And in that vision, there was the grandmothers standing in the center, and there was a sacred fire that was also an 8-pointed star. And then there were the young women around the grandmothers supporting them. The children were running in and out, and the men were pointing outwards. So in 2016, that was the vision Lottie gave us to start with, and said, and you need to form your own nonprofit. Enough of working under people. We need to stand on our own. So we started Women of First Light. We started with the women because women said we need time to build trust amongst ourselves before we can bring the men in. And so we started doing that. And then we did have some gatherings bringing the men in, but it didn't really take off in the way that it wanted it to. And then we did form the Daughters of First Light, which became that circle of the younger women that Lottie saw who were helping the grandmothers. And then this past weekend, that outer circle of the men actually formed when 33 men were here, and they set this room up like a longhouse, and they shared wampum teachings. They shared what's the responsibility of being an Indigenous man. They shared lots of different teachings. And when they sang, there was a shift that happened. Like, it was like, Tosh was at our house and she could hear them singing, and she said it was like the earth came up and almost hugged them. It was like that healing that we've been talking about that needed to happen. So it was like, here as women, we've been working on pushing this forward for a long time. And the men just had to show up and there was a shift. No! But the men showed up and there was a shift, and you could see them really connecting with the land, and they were shooting out, walking different parts of the land, and just really connecting it. And one young man had actually been dreaming since he was a child of the place down by the river. So he was just like, this land is coming back and it's going to be powerful. He said, they're going to happen there. So that was really cool. And then this morning, Ardina and Chris, who are with Fathom Studio, who were at the 7 Generations gathering, which I think you were part of, Andrea and Mig, and you weren't, gave a presentation on how they work with Indigenous communities and how the engagement process, and how it's not like they're coming in to impose ideas, but it's to actually work with the land that you have, work on the vision of what you want to be doing in order to create something, to co-create something together that is responsive. And then there's been different thoughts, like Georgina was saying, we don't have to just focus on, working funding to get a great big building. The important thing is to start the healing work that needs to happen for youth. We need to be looking at these different things that we can be doing now. So sort of a balancing act of working towards creating this dream that I don't remember when we first started it. I don't even remember having a permanent longhouse here. We built temporary ones here and had great workshops where people learned about the structure of the longhouse, what the meaning are, what the feminine, what the masculine, how everything is interwoven together like a basket. Nick might remember better than me when we first started dreaming about the longhouse, but just basically around, it's like a living example of what the governance should be, the relationship between male and female, two-spirit families, all of those sorts of things is in that structure. And so wanting to, like Women of First Light, the way we've always done things is we have modeled what we want. So we said, we're not here to criticize, tear down other structures. We're here to create the alternative of the original alternative of how life is supposed to be led and lived here, really manifesting that. And so that's what we've quietly done, you know, we've held gatherings, sometimes 500 people. And we just model, what does it mean to be women-led with unconditional love? And so, yeah.
And I want to say that those original structures really are a mirroring of nature. Our Earth Mother is non-discriminating, ever giving. It's unconditional. So it's woven in all of us individually, and that it would the completion or the wider vision of us being together is going to continually grow because each generation and each voice, each person that comes in builds upon it. So when we talk about spaces and stuff, the other piece is it's hard speaking in English because our language is not operating from a place of deficiency. It's when we truly understood that we were living in peace. And a lot of our language is still a blueprint because there's no traumatic, negative, all of that language in our, of course, over the time was sterilized and then reformed. And when it was reformed in dictionaries and all, it's not wrong, but what was left behind was the heart and the spirit of who we are as a people. And it was that severing of our ancestors within the past 200 years. They were severed because they weren't able to speak the language for a long while, and then to reprogram our ancestors at that time through a colonial lens. And now we are kind of speaking. I'm a full speaker and I only knew my language, but I find out as I got older that but I was speaking through a colonial lens. So when I hear, like, I'm very sensitive and I feel I understand maybe where the agitation is coming from for the grandmothers or the elders, because I'm a bit supposed to be patient as I get older, but I'm getting a bit impatient because we're missing the mark. I can feel it. We're missing the mark because we're still speaking through the colonial lens and looking through the colonial lens, but I'm not discrediting or I'm not how far we've come. And that is huge. You know, the fact we're here and that we're talking and reconnecting to the land and so on. And I am continually uplifted, inspired by the immense wisdom and the I don't know how else to describe it, of our ancestors as I really look at the language. And I was in this they already knew. Even like now when we talk about science and health and all of that. And anyway, I go on my soapbox and I apologize, but no, one thing when we got together as Women of First Light, it was our own personal healing journeys as well. And we wanted to create a space where you don't have to ask anymore. And we want to be absolutely Ishbel. You've been in this for a very, very long time, starting down southwest of the United States, helping our the work of indigenous people surviving. It's your commitment and your technical support as a consultant that has helped and has woven. It's not just an indigenous cause. It's not just for the indigenous people. It's for all humanity, and the most central part of it. It's for our families who are not even human beings. They're our totems. We name our children after them, so they'll aspire to be the trees. They'll aspire to be the four-legged, the winged ones, the fish ones. So, like, this is big. And when we gathered, we wanted the women to have a space where we would be able to mother each other and care for our children. Because we did not have that space to do that. So the trust is there, but we did not have spaces where women, that was very much a big distraction about severing those languages, and severing us from nature, created distrust, not just for indigenous people, for all humanity. And now we know of those, but it's, again, I can't stop myself. Sorry, I want to bring that seed and the spirit always, as you know, this was really quite the highlight of the discussions that we are still echoing from the first time when we gathered downstairs through ceremony and the drums from different nations. And I want to make sure we start putting not a lodge, but nation. In our anything we raise, we need to put nation. There is a nation here in our homeland, and there's treaties that show us evidence, and we need to uphold and raise those terms, those places. The treaty failed because we don't have our place of worship, we don't have our places of educating, we don't have our places of justice, we don't have any of that because they don't recognize that we are a nation, that they are legally responsible to not the Constitution, but in their Constitution, they have to recognize and honor their own laws and recognize us as nations. So I don't want this to be just an organization, as we talked about from the meetings, remember? And not as just when we say Wapna'kikewi'skwaq, it's much more powerful. That's what we need to be saying. Wapna'kikewi'skwaq. That's a nation of women of this nation. So we have to build that up and honor, and the language is telling. We don't bring up nation, we'll never be able to educate their society in that they have a responsibility and that we are a nation. The reserves are not nations. We are a nation as a land. So I just wanted to share.
Can you say it again? Wapna'kikewi'skwaq.
I'm just going to look around. Okay. Well, this was clearly the reason why I'm kind of looking around is because this is another thing that was there at the beginning, like how do we say, how are we going to come and announce ourselves up when we start to come out? But we've been hiding under the radar for a very long time, for good reason. And we are still somewhat, I'm still kind of feeling somewhat like there, because, anyway, it's a big long story. Which Wapna'kikewi'skwaq?
Which company?
Which Wapna'kikewi'skwaq? Or Wapna'kikewi'skwaq.
Okay, yeah, well,
Yeah, which Wapna'kikewi'skwaq is another way, but Wapna'kikewi'skwaq, Wapna'kikewi'skwaq,
Last part down. The last part, the first part, the middle part.
it's on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one,
Oh, that's the other one.
well, language.
I mean, that would be the Donland people, which Wabin, yeah, but Wapna'kikewi'skwaq is that, whether I've heard the light.
no,
So, I wrote these down because me and Lottie were just talking. She was like, the 7 sacred teachings is more of like a general for all indigenous people on Turtle Island. It was we created a ton. And it's very similar. Well, I'll show you one. It's this one. It's called Protocols and Ceremonies. Yeah. Isn't that great?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so, and then the other one's sharing, but it's not just like, see, in Mi'kmaq, it's like almost 3 words. It's not as simple as English language.
It's not a simple thing, like actually the English language is, I've been told, one of the hardest languages.
Because it's now being straight.
Oh, yeah, so there's a little, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard it too.
it's difficult, because it's not descriptive, like, the way there, right? Like, you can't.
It's the aspect of like giving, how we distribute
Yeah.
wealth or how we distribute source of.
Another one.
You to
Yeah.
So it's, see, in Sonoma usually it's, we're all related, but this is another word that says we're all related. It's how we are all
Yeah.
related.
Yeah.
So it explains why.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? So anyway, I'm gonna put them up there, but I sent it to you on, email. The whole
I
document.
used them, I wanted to
But
do,
you sent me
show
that.
them different,
Yeah,
like we use like together with the other ones.
yeah.
To show people, somebody asked me to do 7 sacred teachings. But I went to a gathering once and somebody was talking about the 7 sacred teachings. And one of the other one said that they're not ours, they don't belong to us and we shouldn't be using them. We need our own. And she said she had them, but she never shared nothing.
Yeah, well, listeners created this document probably back in 2008, 2009. And they interviewed our elders then. And that's what they came up with. It was like they were saying too, this is like, wow.
Somebody said it was modeled after the Bible, the virtues of man. It's written in the Bible, like where Jesus was talking on the Sermon on the Mount. And he gave them these laws to live by. I think there was 6 of them, I'm not sure. I used to know the Bible pretty
You
good.
mean the 10?
No, that was Moses.
Oh, okay.
That I know.
That came from the Sermon on the Mount.
That's like when I went to learn,
Yeah.
oops, it's Kathy Martin.
Oh, because
Hey there.
Hi.
I don't have a link to join you guys.
Oh, I sent it in a text.
Just now?
No, this morning. It's with the Zoom link. We're sort of kind of winding down a bit, but it's the same number as it always is. So not 943-681-6686.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I actually had to sleep until 2.
Aww. So you're on speakerphone, so you've joined the circle.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
You didn't start swearing. Mostly can beauty. Lottie there?
Yeah, Lottie's there, and that was just Georgina giving a comment to you.
Well, she'd be happy I didn't bring her the cold.
Oh, hi Kathy.
Well, back to bed. I really want to be with you. Okay, I'll try to wait then.
All right.
All right.
Bye. Yeah, she's really sick.
She's very tired.
Yeah. So there was just a couple of things I was wondering about. One is, I think they've all gone for a smoke, but I'm wondering if like maybe Erica and Andrea and some of them could look at what's written up here and have a huddle and kind of have a chance to sort of look at some themes that have come out of it. The other thing I was wondering about, somebody talked about a pot of soup, no, that was yeah. So everybody coming up with these ideas and putting them in the stew pot and seeing what might be. And so Lottie had talked about, and then we were going to go walk the land, which I think could probably happen now, and some will just stay in here and tea and pray and relax. And Lottie had seen the Longhouse. Well, we had up there the land visuals, which was really cool. Lottie had seen the Longhouse over in that way, and then you were seeing something over here. I'm wondering, but I could be totally wrong. I'll just throw it in there. One of the things that we've talked about having, big dreams, why not keep dreaming, was having a Longhouse, but also having like a healing lodge, which is like, it could be a mixture. So it's Reiki, it's oils, it's water treatments, it's cedar baths and all that. And so I'm wondering if that is what is over there. And I'm just throwing that out there into the mix.
How about we to take the suggestion of maybe get Val? Also, what did you call that? Did you go in front? Yeah, there's, and then maybe we can someone can get a chance to share.
Yeah, so yeah. Because there is a spot where you were saying the road ends and it goes down there.
That's where
So down there's a spot that's not big enough for the Longhouse, but it is big enough that you could have a healing center that would actually look over the water. And it's such a steep hill down there, it would be very hard to, like we'd have to figure something out because like to say like it's not a big enough spot for British.
And as we look at more the language work, it doesn't necessarily have to be
right
around. Not even that other people like that we had in Tomo, like we want like our
Anyway,
yeah.
So we just flexible.
Yeah.
Will be people coming to
Have the different.
yes, so still.
So I don't know if I can show it on this or not.
We have to make this as well bigger.
Oops, sorry.
I hope this year is Build Your World.
Google Maps.
You know, I play those games. So I said, we can cut and move stuff if you put it up.
Yeah.
Put things where you want it, but don't look right, switch it around.
Then you would need somebody to come in, like, okay,
And how big is, what's the land, that we're?
So it's 15 acres altogether, so this doesn't show everything. The land, oops, here,
Oh, just
this shows
show-
better.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the land goes from here down to the river here. And then the land goes from here back to here, to the highway. And it's also on some part of the other trail. So it's 15 acres, so it's all that land.
Almost right where your hand is, that's where.
Right down there. So if you can switch to the
Yeah,
other
so that-
spot, I don't know if we can see it or not. But, so if you go down, no,
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Where do you wanna go? Oh,
Stevens House. So this is Stevens House. Here's the road that goes down here.
Yes.
This is where you saw.
That's, that going, yeah.
So down here, there is a flat spot that's right about there, I'm thinking, America, where you can't quite see it because of the trees there. But there is a flat spot that looks out on the water. It's not that big of a spot, so it wouldn't be a place where you could build a place big enough to bring in 100 people or whatever we want to do. But it would be a big enough place. Yeah, so it's kind of, it's kind of right in.
is that water?
Right, this is a road, this is an old road, which is very, it's very steep.
Oh, I didn't know last night.
Because what used to be was, this was actually the road into Tabagush. And it went down here and it crossed a bridge. So this is still owned by some Department of Highways. And I'll have to talk to Amy, because I know at one point she tried to get it turned over. Because we own the land on both sides, like the center owns the
Yeah.
land on both sides. And then it goes down here where there's actually a drop off, like it's a pretty place, but you'd wanna not have our grandkids down there with that unsupervised me. But there is, when you come down here, there's sort of a hill that goes down this way. And then there is a little flat spot there, which could have like a smaller kind of healing lodge that may have like water therapy or different things like that, and then looks out over the river.
Fasting lodge.
A fasting lodge, something like that.
Yeah, relaxation,
Yeah,
visualization, stuff like that.
yeah,
A lot of people have anxiety, different things. Helps them to calm down,
chill out, kind of.
or to teach them how to self-soothe, like.
Yeah,
And the trees are so, that's part of who they are.
That would be a good spot by the water.
yes. And it's a much sort of smaller spot, so you couldn't have like a, you know, a larger sort of ceremonial place, which, you know, maybe could be more where Lottie was seeing it, somewhere between these two trees that is. And then there's a smaller healing lodge down where you saw Natalie. Yeah.
And then,
Go ahead.
go ahead. So I was just thinking, like, I really like what you did about in Peru, nothing was touched, much to save the trees and around the river, because that's where we will lose you, emotion.
That's what I was thinking, and flooding, I don't know if it floods.
It doesn't really flood, but part of your land.
Mark?
This is where I come in.
This is part of my.
Looking at me.
Yeah, I'm looking at you. Part of my little dream is that this is going to be forest for future generations. It's going to be forest because we're going to plant trees. Because we know this had huge trees that built ships, right? This was a shipbuilding. They stripped this land. So we want to bring the trees back. And so that's part of why it would be good if we could get a general agreement of where the Longhouse may be and whatever that structure may look like. Because Jen knows somebody that does reforesting. So we want to bring them here, start making a plan for bringing the land back to being a forest. and start planting it. So we don't want to plant it and then go, oh, that's where we want the longhouse. So we got to cut down all the trees that we just planted, right? So
And we can also bring in, I know we talked about it briefly once, for those of you who know where Chapel Island and the burials getting exposed, with erosion. And I understand that the burials are here around water as well.
Then his money go out,
Yeah.
that's all washed down.
So we'll also make sure that as part of the planning, that we get, archaeological input, to make sure that, I think they ended up using coconut fiber, on Chapel Island, but to make sure that those burials are secure as the erosion comes in, and that will partly be roots from trees and creating a riparian zone, but all of those pieces will come together. So we'll protect not only the land and create, land and forest for the people, but also making sure that those who are buried here are protected. So that's sort of all on my to-do list.
they're not busy. We do know some of them. Tosh didn't have any flags, so when she'd find a burial spot, hopefully it's still there, she took her shoelaces out and she marked the burial spot with her shoelaces. So the Mohawk is marked with the shoelace there. Andrea.
They don't have markers, do they?
No, we know where they are and we've been doing ceremony where they are, but they're old, so it was before people did markers. So
No names, no.
some of that information we have found out through ceremony. So, through ceremony, we found out that the one over there that Tosh was always sensing but didn't know who it was a man, and did some ceremonies around that. Is that my phone?
Yeah.
Okay, might be a,
Kathy Martin brought, dowsers.
yes, and we did that. Okay.
Dowsers.
Yes.
And, elders, and they went around and they, marked. That's where
And we did ceremonies on it. Oh, so maybe.
I can't walk in the snow, like, I packed it in on that game.
Okay, maybe what happened was, I didn't see you join to click join.
Oh,
Do you want to try now that I'm telling it?
oh, no.
Take a break and, I went out with this. Are you coming back?
More than likely, although what's going to happen, I think, is some people are going to go walk the land. And the other ones will have house tree and talk and plan. Yeah.
Someone raining down there?
It was raining earlier, but it's stopped right now.
More here.
They said, yeah.
There's no need for me, I mean, I would like to hear something and say stuff.
Yeah.
I can't line in there.
Well, we can certainly try and do that. I think it's just a matter of you coming back in and nobody was sitting here to admit you.
Where's this at?
So, what's that?
This is here?
I don't know what,
Or this is at the log?
oh, sorry. Somebody's pointing at something else. Sorry, Kathy. Try and come in again and I'll try and.
It's goes down, build it.
Okay. All right. Okay, sounds good.
Let's start to.
So this Google Earth?
No, this is from the girl. Yeah.
Oh,
When we were here, they had the,
we had the log and stuff.
yeah.
And because there's a lot of hemlocks on this property,
No, there is not.
I don't have to worry about my PTSD around hemlocks.
No.
Okay.
So I've been trying to get Kathy in, but I think nobody was sitting here to admit her. So what I'm gonna suggest is. I know.
Go for a smoke and then she tries to come on.
So what I'm gonna suggest, because it's about an hour and whatever, supper is at 5:30, that those that want to go and look at the land some may want to go down and look at the spot where maybe the healing goes out and look. Or go back over this way where Lonty saw the Longhouse and just do some walking of the land and,
Yeah.
you know,
Could you show, the spot where the Longhouse,
where Lonty saw.
because, this Longhouse is,
Here it is.
The one that was,
no,
Here
not,
last time,
where
did you?
Lottie,
Yeah,
It was on up there, that was what they built.
Riverside.
Yeah,
Here.
yeah.
Yeah, Lonty was thinking down from the labyrinth between these trees, like sort of in here.
Mhm.
And then she also re-envisioned this. Hopefully you remember that part of the vision. It was about we haven't recorded. So from putting the 4 sacred circles, they're turning this into 4 indigenous.
Medicine wheel.
So
medicine wheel.
and it's having different, so that there's different axes coming out for the east, for the west, for the north, you know,
The
and so.
physical, the mental, the different.
Yeah.
Have somebody that would be able to walk with that person out to that area. They would have something out there where they could sit and talk or whatever in that direction. Do smudging or do a healing ceremony with them, something like that.
Well, that's
Because we need a lot of it.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree.
Where'd you say the Longhouse? In the back? The place Moxie saw it was kind of towards the water from the labyrinth.
And
Between
then
the
this, yeah.
between these 2 trees, and she talked about needing some outside seating areas as well. And I think I can't
Because I
remember.
even thought maybe a switching like near that would be, that was accessible all in one area for people.
Historically, some of our longhouses would have a sweat lodge at the end, like, adjoined with the longhouse. So there's that possible.
Yeah, that would be good.
Probably really is. And would it be the west door or the east door?
Not sure, I'd have to ask.
Yeah.
But yeah, that used to be what, because I had to ask, like, when I was young, when I was like 18, out in Vancouver, invited to a sweat for the first time, and I called home, like, can I do a sweat? I don't even know if I can do this. They said, if you're invited and it feels good, you know, just remember, you know, it's if you're invited, it feels good. So, when I come back, I remember asking, you know, because the older people said you wouldn't do that. But then there's some people that said, some older people too, that said we did do that. And that it was joined on to our Longhouse at the end of it. And a lot of times too, it wasn't always just for a ceremony, it was for helping people get better who got sick, like their respiratory, or babies, helping babies with breathing and stuff like that if they were sick. So it was healing physical through to help our people, not just to be ceremony either. So it was like, I don't know. But yeah, I can ask more about that.
Yeah, and
What they're-
what about the size, the length, or something like that? What would you need?
I don't know. I mean, they're still uncovering.
Habitação, la room, what size it is.
If it's a nation house, then it's like, it would be like, kind of like, based on the location and there's the people.
They could be football fields long.
Yeah.
It's just up to
Yeah. And then people spend in
the
the
people. Yeah, it's up
If
to
we
the
bring in
people.
another family member, then we expand and add another room. They're versatile like that, that's what I
Yeah.
had.
Yeah, basically just for sleeping,
Yeah.
right?
It's not for living
No.
there, it was some.
They read on that and sometimes.
Oh, the
When they have the TVs with.
And the rafters were used for hanging medicines to them, and then there's a section for wood. Yeah, they done a couple of the
And weather was done.
but just to show people, it wasn't really like to scale. Like some of the books are better when they're huge. Wow. Yeah, huge. And the social construct of the Longhouse, like the men would move to the women's Longhouse. Because it was like, if we all lived in the same Longhouse, the same family, we would all do, for example, we would all do dishes the same. There was no arts. We just taught, we were learned everything how to do the same with little girls. So taking care of home, it made more sense for the men who married to move to the woman's house because the social and everyday living chores were the same. So there's less arguing. Plus, what man's gonna mess around and be done around all the women for right? So it did a lot of social things with who we were, like morals, values, all that, when marrying into, and that's how the families grew, like into that. So.
It's so much religion, it's so common sense. And you start to really look at it, so with the children, the reason why there was no word in our language for orphan, and that the women were running, managing the homes, and then were on the outer bark. They were represented the outerness of it, like that's where Guj, your father, Gujumuk, the men are being told that they're being held by another thin veil of Muk. Like, because Muk is Muk, Mundi, like the Musakis, so I can't wait.
I was telling Berka on the way up about, we were looking at reviving the pageant grounds back home, and what it is, it's like a little simple, so our longhouses would be guarded with a wall as well. And they would be a maze. They would make it into a maze. So if some stranger tries to come in, they would have to figure out how to get through that maze, and it would give the people enough time in the morning that somebody's trying to get in. Right? So that was also something that was done long time ago too, and protection. And it was just like fence, like walls. We made it through a maze. Yeah, and that would be around the villages, right, of the Longhouses.
And those walls were like pre-burnt, like how we burnt our wood. That's the preservation, and they do blend in. I remember driving through. I was showing the Longhouse area. I drove by it a few times, and it was just camouflaged right into it. It was just sitting right there, and it was camouflaged. It was gray, dark, and it's like the trees, and then and it's in the open field, like it's our ancestral way of serving and camouflaging and.
So it's like, what would the purpose of the Longhouse be? Would it be to share Longhouse teachings? Would you have retreats where people would sleep in them? Because it would just be think of bunk beds, but like stacked, and the wood, and the sleep was just on cedar branches, right? Make it soft. So I know back home, one of the replica people would go in and talk about the social constructs and how we call it the rafters too. So some of the social constructs of the people, we look at the rafters as being a tool for teaching in itself about leadership. And the rafters that are, I guess you think of like the structure of a log home, the big logs are the structure of things. And you talk about the leadership in that as well. And then holding the medicines, like where we dry the medicines and stuff. And it's all symbolism, and it's all just very connected and simple, really. And that was the beauty of way back when, the intellect was also because of simplicity. Nothing was complex and hard,
So yeah, when you think about building the longhouse here, what's the purpose of them? How is it gonna be built for what purpose, you know? So if you want people sleeping there and then you want it, you know, airtight kind of thing. You know, and the ones are, the ground of them were just like dirt. There's no floor. So, and then we have other ones that are like little museums right up in Puga area, where it's like a building, it's like this, but the outside of it is the bark, you know. So what purpose, you know, I think is a good start of building, you know, size and what are you gonna do inside of it? You know, there's one that has like TVs and it show videos and, you know, is it historical museum kind of feel or is a original raw material feel where you actually want to get that experience of like how the ancestors lived, you know.
Was Kathy coming up there? Sorry, she says she's waiting for the whole, but I just went into Zoom and it looks, sorry for interrupting.
Even with the longhouse, the doors always still face looking east.
Yeah.
It's a different thing.
And historically, we had 3 or 4 doors. And Boja also drove on one time of that. There's this bill. There was always 3 doors. One, the eastern door, the women came in. And the western door, the men came in. They'll take to understand what we would know as the birth canal, or like our lodges, like the igloo. The main door is for marriages and death, because it's the same experience, not in a good way. So there was a door here in the eastern and in the western, and the women came in through the eastern door, and the men came in through the western door. And this is not new to this. This is across the world. There's ancient systems are operating on the same. We have, like, we can bring it into the humanness of it. But the main points, like we understand, right? Much we know, like this is the spirit entry, our heart, our belly button or the heart, and then the birth canal. Like so, anyway, ancient knowledge everywhere is pretty common, but we know the earth, the sun comes from the east and sets in the west. So it's following our cosmic family. And I'll tell you how, it's so important to follow those, use the sacred, how all that is. I didn't know that until when we were helping to expand the indigenous center at St. Thomas. And we had the aerial shot. And St. Thomas is a Christian space. And so above the area, the way they designed it, believe me, the sis and everyone is practicing it. It was the 8-point star, and it had the 3 fires. I was saying, hey, this is our indigenous model, like, and one of the other, I think it was from Sisters of Charity, she said that's the marking that the Pope has on his hat. And so there's that kind of linkages also of the ancient systems. So it matters how we design our longhouse or our structure. And so it's so important to have it in those alignments of how things go. And here, the Bush is I'm hearing like it's the how the rivers are merging, or what does that mean? So I think we need to really look at. I want to maybe even wait for Kathy, but
Yeah, those are deep questions, deep discussions we need to have of all of that, because that's the intent that's gonna be set. And that we already send out an energy of upholding how we feel, how we think, and our connection to creation. It's very significant. You should think that it was, specific, kasi imagine the elders would be so specific and no, you have to do it in this way, and it makes sense, and there's a very important reason why. Yeah, so.
Even in sleeping, like, I was always told, when you fix your bedroom, you put your head of the bed, never put it to the west. Because that's how the dead is there, the head's always to the west.
Yeah.
So when we sleep, and if you're building a longhouse for people to stay and sleep in, you want to have them so that their heads are not in the west. So there's things just like that, right?
Yeah. That's obviously that. If I'm upset with someone, you tell them I'll smile. Yes, get your bed made. Yeah. Yes, spaces.
See which they are.
It's so.
You're a twist.
Yeah. Of the land, because the land is the only creation, the only true harmony. It lives in harmony. And we can't see the roots underneath, but they're all interconnected all over the world. When I started to see that and to feel it, and I never got educated on that, but I felt it. And because I used to hang out at the museum's lost house, but I never talked to anybody. So I would look at things and wonder, well, how come this feels like this? And how come the rocks almost have and the stones had an energy to them, and then when I started to learn to sit on and with the land, because I found healing by sitting in silence on the land. That's how I found my healing. And to learn how to listen. And when I started to do that, I had a vision that, and it's almost like the same kind of thing that I'm seeing here is I ended up sitting with a group of beings. They weren't in physical form, but I knew that they were like the elders. And so I stood there and there was a fire in the middle. And I said, oh my gosh, this is what you did. This is how you knew how the trees lived, how the animals talked, how the stars and the moons and everything, how it functioned. Because you listened in a way that we've forgotten how to listen. And you can see more than what we can see today. Because they did that, and we just forgot. And it's like restoring, cultivating that, what we want to call healing energy of life. That's what the ancestors, they knew. Like you say, they knew that. They watched it and they respected it. They didn't try to change the land. They changed themselves to know the truth. And that's why things were done in a certain way with respect and joy, not because it was harsh. It was like, this is how it is because this is life. Wow.
Yes. Spirit first.
Yeah, yes.
They try too hard to change you.
Too hard, we try so hard, yeah, and we create things that stop us from seeing, you know. My mom, when she was probably around 85, she was already pretty well blind. And I was always drifting all over the place. I was a real drifter. And but when the last years, she asked me to come home and take care of her till her last breath. And so I would sit in the house with her, and I said, "How do you sit there? How do you sit there all day long? And I know you can't see, but you look like you can see, like the look on her and the feeling from her." And she would always want to be placed in front of a window. Yeah. And I asked her that, and she goes, "Well, you come and sit next to me then, and maybe you'll see." Well, I'm like, "Oh, okay." Well, so I started to sit with her and look out that window with her. And you know what? I started to see the leaves on the trees. I started to see the veins on the leaves. And it was incredible. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I think I see." And I remember she grabbed my hand, she goes, "You're going to be okay." And it was like, your mother wasn't there. She was Rebecca. My mom was Rebecca. She was the oldest sister of Margaret.
She made looks for one.
Yeah.
Then I said,
Oh, nice.
my husband used to be up for it.
Oh my God.
40 years of work.
But the earth is so powerful. It has it's so simple, it's hard. It's so simple to see, but it's hard. Because it's like you were saying, we have to decolonize our minds because we were taught to look like them. We were taught to think like them, to react like them, to judge them. Yeah. And the way I seen it was like, and these are dreams, because I would never talk about the dreams that I had, because I never heard anybody talk about these things. And I would always have dreams that the colonial, they laid veils of oppression, and many veils upon the people. But they're not ours. They don't fit us. Okay. So it's like we're working through those veils and coming out because they don't fit us. To be well, we're rediscovering them. We're waking up. Like that's what I say. We're honoring who we were created to be. Just like those trees out there. They hold up their arms all the time and give thanks. The grass looks up into the heavens, gives thanks, and does the most beautiful thing it's supposed to do. This is, I didn't think I would be able to tell that to the students, but when I started telling I referred to the trees and the plants and everything. I said, that's who we are. And what you walk on and everything is in us. We are made of that. That's why we love a beautiful flower and just see it. We get that feeling inside. We connect. Just like when we're close to the water.
Those are good words to share before we go out for a walk. We're looking at the tree leaves now, like, where's your bangs?
If people want to, and Roger's running or in May. So I don't know how wet the ground's gonna be. Look it up.
I think some people are staying in the 3D, and then whoever is able to wants to walk out or walk.
Yeah. We'll have to park. It's that's the elders that will walk in.
Yeah.
But you know, like.
I'm gonna test where this golden dragons.
Yeah, there we go.
Want to jump like I heard.
We'll cut
So anybody going walking, there is tick spray, women-owned, indigenous-owned tick spray that I bought that's out on the railing there, so spray with that. The fields are wet. It might be possible to walk down the road because you'll be on the road, not muddy. And then you'd be able to look to the left and see the spot that opens up that might be the place for that Nora was pointing out for that healing lodge. So that's down that road over that way. That's probably easiest to walk. And then from there, it would just be choice if you want to walk maybe out the back here and over to the left there below the labyrinth to see what the land feels like for the Longhouse.
We're not involved on it, it was, there's 29 shoreline, and we're down there.
Yes.
Yeah,
there's shore down here
So there was a big.
on the bay, and you can walk this way. There's canoes. And you can walk right down to the river. You know where we used to walk, see in the trees, so you just walk down there and it'll take you right down to the spots. You just sweat there down there.
Like get down there fast.
That's where we went. The water that time you feel like you all serenity is about to. So if you wanted to go to the river, somebody could drive you down. Oh, it's going down. There, I think you could drive the park down.
That's in the water.
Not in the water. No, we're not going for a drive into the water. But you safely drive down to the river. You could at least get lucky where you can see the river.
I'm only hesitant. Yeah, okay. Drive it down there. I'm only hesitant if they don't know how close to put the logs to try and stop where we were.
No, I don't mean that entrance. I mean down where we used to have the sweat, where we held the water ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's where she wants to go. Right, yeah. That's a canoe.
Oh, no.
No.
All paddles, if you wanna go.
7 buildings.
All right, I'm gonna go take a look at that for here.
Won't cut those trees down.
No, we don't want to cut
No, we don't wanna, we wanna actually,
We want to get rid of them.
forest.
forest.
Yeah.
Make sure we're not
That's
touching
those plants.
Sometimes they don't want to.
Oh,
Yeah,
I did.
yeah.
These little doors. Those are BC.
Yeah. We saw the big trees down in South Song. Part of close components. Oh my God. I want them. They're so beautiful. Me too. I need a cup of tea.
Did you want to?
Latte, Masha. Make your decorative a plate.
Okay, I'm going to the bathroom. We don't need it.
I want Jen.
Oh, God, I can't get up. That's in my ear.
One more bit. What do you want?
What do you want?
You want? Oh, gentlemen.
Just love girls, like, that's what the you're keeping up with this, I know. The time that he had, he said that money, but older. He said, so, those genuine. Oh, it was, straight, fish bill, I went to the troll nose, so my son is sliding. No, I think it's they take their. What he does, and I'm not sure that. They take the visions. I heard that there was a good Boston too. Yeah, they take all of those, all of that. When you want that, you want to use your, some of the, you know, and for future use and things like that.
Right,
yeah.
They take
all of that.
Rick definitely.
You got over the respect for the land.
I think it's pretty well for
Right.
His wife, him and his wife, they built a house. He never completed.
I think she's already
got until.
Yeah. So if he built the deck, he would have built that around what other trees, so that. From there.
Collected his water.
That's like what I'm like, stuck you out.
Your next parent. Okay. Also, that's how he waters his garden. Oh, nice. There's a lot of idea of my husband, because the garden is big. Huge, big. I think all the Sims all the time. I couldn't hug it to try. It's like that. I don't know where it comes from, but it's her water, and it all is from the house through the granny. Yeah, the dew, all the dew, those are good. It's possible. It is, and he doesn't waste any of his water for more than it. His vegetables are down all year long, that is big trees. The same way with the preserves were always in the south. Yeah.
I think
When we love them all year long, the roots of.
Yeah,
I used to love the root salad. I like the goodies in the root salad. I didn't like the darkness. Oh, yes. Yeah. So we just along the way that. More just. We just keep from the wrong roof.
I asked her if she needed help, she said she was good.
Want the video, like she might be like, oh, yeah, maybe 4 years.
Oh, we're going to bring back.
Everybody had truck.
The sky is all.
What? Yeah.
That black's real dry.
That's those stuff I'm thinking everybody else. There's seven. I'm trying to buy.
It'll be the first thunderstorm, ain't it? Right, it was. How do I do it? We have them early.
I can't.
That's what next time. I went back to this.
And it looks like there's lots more rain. And lots more thunder. 10 to 15 minutes.
I'll try. So I did. I got excited.
So I'm gonna go wash cream.
Thank you. You're gonna job. I can see you in
You're
the
great.
face. Like,
After I said, I'm just. You're touching me.
You want, well, Kathy's in there, we're on
That
back in the break.
beautiful up there.
I said, you know what?
Isn't it?
It's been 29 people, but not what it's killing me.
Oh, yep, Kathy's there while we're doing our break.
It has to.
It is.
Yeah, because.
Kathy's still there?
Yeah.
So
She
steady.
should have done FaceTime.
Okay, well, and we're reading.
Wouldn't be able to be, connected to the Zoom. Oh, we hear everybody.
Oh, she sounded that.
Yeah, can't she do that Zoom thing? Yeah, she's on the Zoom now.
what happened was it was on a different link than I thought, so I entered the wrong link.
Lots of things that she probably but from your words. It's all going on.
Fire, he's on there now.
I don't like the whole new round. Pick up cucumbers now. It's a good man who likes.
I want the fish. Money fish. This river is not so good for fish. The next one up is better. But there was a beaver staying there last weekend. And at one time, a whole bunch of turtles migrated up there.
Go over. They're great. Over that way. Just it's got tucked up over there. So whatever that means. Where's the sun?
Either was
Sun over there.
people, Adeline, oh wow.
No, comes up over here.
Really now.
That's a much.
Oh, line, wow.
It's.
No, the road didn't go that one.
That.
What is that area?
Remember what? If you go to the
I won't.
yeah, over there. It's over there. The hilarious thing is when I first met my dad and then when he mom, my dad and my uncle had this big plan, like, okay, well, we're gonna put Tosh and Gary in the same car so they can, like, fall on vacation. And like, oh, wow.
Maybe that glasses should rise up.
She rapidly challenged.
Yeah.
It's getting work. And then
What do you want me to wait?
bring home?
What do you like?
Oh, we're getting out.
Red room, just no.
Didn't even give us 15 minutes.
But I have to like stand up. You want some tea? Yes. Red rose.
Right? There. They're finding it.
Oh my.
Oh,
Smile.
yeah.
I was so used to calling to that.
Awesome.
Your turn.
I said, cute.
Cause like, wasn't it yesterday when you said you could go anytime? And I don't wanna say that's bad timing, you're gonna have 2 minutes,
How she was though.
Adeline made a thing up.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
She wouldn't take the figures of everybody and fix them up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just wonderful.
Now I told her this. They got me going names. That's that Katie really fish from the floor.
I just wanted to, they said I to believe that.
I want to do things, but I'm scared.
I know. And that's why we used the hospital in Sydney.
Yeah.
So you put it out into the universe.
Mhm.
It's not like.
I gotta do it, I gotta do it.
Do you have it on here? Yeah. Do you use the CP anymore or no?
No, I haven't used it. And, but they used it for a while, but
I don't like onions, so I don't.
oh, Adeline's birthday.
Okay.
So maybe one day I can say for.
You know, I was thinking the piece of Friendship Academy might want to be, that's 10. How big is it?
And
Yeah.
the words.
It's pretty big,
I used to
Can we
have.
more?
but it's like plastic,
Yeah.
heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavier than a shark. See, they took plastic, and he had to go up here. No, I did. I went up with it.
Oh, yeah.
And it has the sides, you have to lock them in. So that was the first time we opened it since we got it. And then the teepee.
No, I just keep up her. That's why
Oh.
my mom, my
I
grand,
have no way to call it
my
now.
mom home, she would go just.
You feel all this stuff.
Kept her
Yeah.
when the agents came.
Not the stuff that they'll do.
Stood up there. Not.
Okay.
Oh, tomorrow. She'll rush straight down.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how she ended up.
He hadn't been working or anything, but he finally got a work.
Yeah, it's kind of really starting to work out.
Oh gee, I just got started up on it.
It's all running.
We did.
Yeah.
He just got that, so,
You said that.
but he's been so.
Yeah, that's right.
And he didn't wanna try for that. I forget what it was, there was that one program that I had him, did a proposal for him to get funding to start his business, and all that,
35,
start his business.
and
That was before he went out west.
25
No.
years ago, changed out that 20 years.
And I told my, to see if I ran.
This is as I.
Well, that's what I wrote up for him, but then he changed his mind, and didn't want it. He doesn't wanna hold.
As I you to come on. Okay.
He was
So I
like,
turned around and I told this, and I said that.
and I asked, I said,
My
how
oldest
to
one. That's on.
something went off, or something else went.
But I'm gonna tell you all the things.
Once I start getting money, I'm paying it back. I said, I know.
Or do you still remember?
But I mean,
Because I'm
he-
not gonna be here in-
I mean, oh,
Just
God.
work and then we'll start.
He pays me back. I said,
One, then you'll get yourself close to.
but maybe with that work, he'll be able to work steady. He had another fellow about the person, so that's the end. Okay. And he had this tool. I know that Ryan Gould said that he, like, who started the plumbing business in Rematration, was willing to like help him out or give advice for starting their own business kind of thing.
Some of the finance and.
Right. There's a guy, he's a good guy. Who's that? Ryan Gould,
I was
remember?
watching, he did like some sort of documentary or.
Yeah, my daughter, I said,
And they meet, I think it's every Tuesday evening, November 2nd. And they're like just really awesome. They do things like when it's Mother's Day, they would cook dinners for mothers, invite them and serve them, and, you know, just.
Right when I can't find it.
But no, it's
Yeah. But morning tomorrow.
But just humble man, and he talked about his.
So he see on computer.
Got over it, and how he started.
What?
Do that.
Eyes on the computer. He was recording the rain.
Oh.
You know, loving each other, but just supporting each other. So when Edwin died, I guess was a part of that group, and he felt really bad.
It really is. And I,
Oh my
I
God.
got accepted for school.
Wow,
In September. I did a year at Dallas, but I was, I was working full time.
In fact, like when I think of it, it feels like it was months before.
And I was getting the fits that I need, and now
I think
I
it was
just
last
last
week.
week, I got accepted to the.
You know, but then couldn't get his body.
So- It'll be 4 years of school. There's some breaks in between and stuff. And then at the end of it, we have an intern artist.
Yeah, Ryan.
Not be able to,
Really
but it's not be able to
wants
finance.
to join it.
Oh, yeah.
You
It's a
should
goal, and
reach out to Ryan, to Ryan, like, animation.
Sorry.
And he had a monthly men's group.
Oh, really?
Things like that.
Chair.
No, those are just.
Those are